Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633 and today we're taking a look at another Transformers review. This time we're going to take a look at Triggerhappy and Blowpipe from the current wave of Transformers Generations Titan Returns Deluxe class figures. Now, unlike some of the other characters that are released between now, since the beginning of Titans Returns, this is one of the few characters that actually maintain both the original character name and the Headmaster, well now Titan Master, since it was originally going to be a Targetmaster's name intact. So it's one of the few cases where they're able to secure both names once again. Anyways, the box is the standard blister card we've seen with the deluxe figures. It has a picture of his vehicle mode and a pretty nice artwork design of his robot mode. He transfers in 17 steps, and I gotta say, this is a pretty faithful representation of the character in the new design. Anyways, before anything else, we're going to take a comparison with his G1 design, which also is in a very Voyager-styled design, so that's pretty cool. One thing that does seem pretty sad is that, once again, the Targetmaster could barely hold onto the hand, and I find that very annoying. And hopefully, we'll probably see some kind of custom company creating a ton of the missing Targetmasters for their partners for this particular line. Anyways, we're going to take a look at his character card. It has the same artwork you've seen up there, but obviously we can see the full body now. And then see the stats on the back as well, which is just the standard card we've been getting to this point. Articulation-wise, the head is on the standard articulation we've seen all around. Ball joints there, and you can look left and right pretty decently, unlike some of the other characters we've seen. His shoulders are not ball... Oh, no, I take that back. They are ball jointed. They can move up and down. And you can kind of move it a little bit forward, but there isn't a whole lot of movement you're going to get there. He does have a standard swivel in the bicep. However, these pieces do kind of get in the way when moving the parts, so be careful there. He does have a single elbow joint, and his hands are kind of articulated due to transformation. He has full 360 waist for transformation, but it's nice to see another character in the line to actually maintain a waist joint. He has ball joints at the hips, swivels at the thighs, and more than 90 degrees for transformation at the knees. And he does have some feet pivots in both the front and back ankles. So he does have some pretty good articulation points. His Titan Master Blowpipe can obviously be removed from the body, but this one's a little bit tricky to actually pull on and off for some reason. Unlike some of the other Titan Masters that I've gotten, for some reason this one's a little bit more tricky to pull off. I think the joint is held onto it just a little bit tighter than it normally does. You can, once again, attach the gun together to make it look like this. And we're going to take a look at Blowpipe more closely. So it looks like this. And you can plug him into the gun. It's a little bit tricky though, because it does use the same peg joint. Once you plug it in, you can put the Titan Master on the gun as well. Now, I actually will not be transforming the G1 Blowpipe as a comparison, because this particular Targetmaster is extremely difficult to transform, and it's in pretty good condition for when I got it, so I've never been able to transform this thing properly without possibly breaking in half, so unfortunately I can't exactly show a comparison there. We're going to transform Triggerhappy now. So first we're going to take these pieces and unpeg them from the sides. It's a little bit tricky though, but once you get that, you'll be able to peg them. It's a little bit tight though, so there we go. What's interesting is that for the transformation, I was actually surprised that you actually turned this entire part of the abdomen. I thought that was a very interesting transformation design going on there. So you got that going on from there. Next, what we're going to do is make sure that the heel pieces on the back go in first or else it's going to be a little bit tricky to transfer it properly later on. Then we're going to make sure that these pieces on the feet there lay like this. We're going to turn the entire leg 360 so that you see the screw in the back. And then these will peg forward around here. And they will snap together in the back here via these two pegs. So there we go. Once you get that together, you're able to snap them together and it looks like this. We're going to plug this together, so now we form the cockpit. And these will fold onto the back. So now we got him fully in his vehicle mode almost. We're going to collapse the hands. And then these pegs on the sides will peg into the holes that are on the side here. So it plugs in very nicely there. We're going to turn the turrets forward, pull up the wings, and we're going to do the same for the other side. And there we have Triggerhappy in his vehicle mode. Now they got Triggerhappy in his vehicle mode, it's pretty reminiscent of his G1 design. As a comparison, here is the new Triggerhappy versus the G1 Triggerhappy in his vehicle mode. And it's pretty much almost spot on in terms of design. Obviously, there's a few differences, including the design on the upper part of the vehicle versus this one. It's a little bit more basic, but it still has a lot of the design cues as we've seen with that particular release. It does have a folding out landing gear like the G1 design, so it's cool to see that return for this one. But from what I could tell, it doesn't have any other real wheels. It does have two molded plastic wheels there, but that's about it. But with the wheel down, you can actually allow him to balance it a little better in the jet mode. What's cool is that, just like the other Targetmaster releases, we can open the cockpit, which is a little bit tricky, since in this mode you do need to kind of push this up. So it's a little bit easier to open up the cockpit first, a little bit, then plug it back in so it looks like this. So it does feature a fully working cockpit. And also to put in the Targetmaster, it's also kind of easier to just keep that open first and then secure him. Then you can actually plug it in and then he will stay pretty secure inside the cockpit with no issue. You can't take the guns, and we're just going to plug them on to the vehicle mode. There's actually a couple areas where you can plug it in. One area being here on the actual front guns, but there's also another place you can plug them underneath the wings, which that's where we're just going to plug it in to show how the guns look like in vehicle mode. And there we have him fully armed up. And I think Hasbro did a pretty great job in redesigning the character in the Generations line. So in conclusion, I have to say this is pretty much a near perfect reimagining of the character in the Generations line, and it's got a lot of the original design cues all throughout the body. It's one of the few Transformers that actually really transition well into this mode without many compromises, and I think Hasbro did a very nice job in designing this particular version of the character. Obviously, it still doesn't have the standard Targetmaster as seen in the original design, but it would be nice to maybe see at least a custom company, as I mentioned earlier, make a version for this particular character if it bothers you that much. So overall, I think this is definitely a highly recommended figure to get, especially if you're a fan of the character or just in Targetmasters in general, since this turned out very well. I got this at ToysRUs.com, and while it was not really worth the $20 price it was going for, when I ordered this, it was during the time when Toys R Us lowered the price just a little bit lower to almost just under retail, so I highly recommend picking up at least around the retail to a little bit lower price. Maybe not so much for the $20 price like some places are actually asking for. Anyways, please comment, subscribe, and check out Hero Club and Hero Taku. Also, check me on Twitter under Darkon633, and don't forget to check down the other channels down below. Please check the little bell at the bottom of the screen in order to see my content go as soon as possible. And I'm back with more Transformers reviews and more, but for now, I'll be seeing you later, YouTube. Bye.